Awesome. So thanks again to you guys watching live on eXp Family Tree. Hopefully you can join us here in Zoom. If you are somewhere where you can do it, just grab the Zoom link. It's my same Zoom link every training, and join us live if you can. Those of you that are on, you're going to be getting some great value. I've known David, gosh, David, how long have we known each other? For sure, over 10 years. And we've worked together in a few different capacities. I know him, his wife, his adorable children. And I just really respect David because he has honed some skills in this real estate industry that I have not honed even. And he is always willing to freely share and give. And so super grateful for your time today. David, I'm going to let you take it away. Maybe share a little bit about yourself, and then we're just going to get right into helping people feel more confident getting out there and finding listings through the ways that you have helped many people learn how to do it. Because, you know, we know in this upcoming market, we're going to have to be proactive to go out there and get transactions, and we can all do it, but we just need to have the scripts, gain the confidence, and then force ourselves into action, right?
Amen. Yes, yes, yes. Hey, look at Becky Colburn. What's up? How's it going? Cool. So,
hey, how are you, David?
good to see you.
That's good to see you.
Some more of my K-Dub peeps popping in over here.
Right.
Not anymore. I'm EXP.
Oh, hey, I get it. Me too. I was at Keller for 17 years. So I grew up there, you know, great company, but you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Things change, markets change, times change, and we're going into changes now, right? So that's why we're here today. So appreciate you guys being here. I am a 40, man, it's just aging myself, but I started in sales almost 39 years ago. I was working in a Kirby call center, calling people, cold calling for vacuum cleaner, setting up appointments for vacuum cleaner salespeople. And then I was we used to do credit cards. I worked in a credit card call center back in the day before it was illegal. You could call people and persuade them to take a credit card application over the phone. Now, listen, I didn't start it. I didn't know any better. I just knew something, you know, in the end I left because something didn't feel right. I felt like some people like seniors were doing apps. They didn't really know what they were doing. And then I worked in publishing for a long time. I worked in publishing for probably maybe 13 years. I built a magazine, cold calling telephone books, trade magazine, going, you know, business to business, door knocking, just meeting, grinding, you know, painters, contractors, landscape companies. I had gotten AT&T as a client back then, Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams, working with ad agencies, everybody. And then I got my real estate license in 2002, and I built my business calling for sale by owners. You know, I came into real estate with a lot of experience on the phones and you know, cold calling. So it was an easy transition for me. Just had to learn the scripts. First year closed 42 transactions. And then I just kind of, you know, built a team. In the end, we were doing about 130 transactions. And, you know, went into leadership at Keller Williams, recruited over 200 agents into an office in 2 years. And I ended my stint at Keller Williams when COVID started. You know, I was actually working directly with Gary Keller and Jason Abrams, calling independent brokerages and setting up meetings for Gary and Jason to meet with indie brokerages around the country. That was my role. I was the only person doing it. COVID hit. And, you know, anyway, that's what happened. And they put everything on hold. And that was a point where in my life where I was being paid as a consultant. And I said, I got to go back. I got to make money. So I had to go back into sales. And it was interesting because I wasn't in sales at KW anymore. My team had fallen apart. Cari can probably tell you more about all that. But, you know, I had someone running my team the last couple of years and it didn't work. But what happened was I had to go back into sales and I was going to go back to the local Keller Williams office. But then it didn't make sense anymore because of everything I learned about, you know, the different models and stuff. And I don't think this is an EXP presentation anyway, but bottom line is I'm at EXP now. We still do a lot with for sale by owners and expireds. We do sphere of influence, anything with reaching out and greeting people and having conversations. That's what I do. I'm a success coach now. one of the success coaches that actually success sends clients to. And man, I just love it. I love helping people. I'm a trainer. And I coach and train real estate agents on lead generation and that whole process. And there's 5 fundamentals that I believe are critical to sales. And then first one is your greeting. You have to have the right greeting, no matter who you're talking to, whether you're calling somebody, you're talking to somebody at Starbucks, or you're on social media, your greeting is critical. The second fundamental is fact finding or asking great questions. We have to learn how to ask really great, deep questions. Cari is awesome at that. Going super, super deep with questions. Becky's awesome at that too. I know her. And figuring out what people are having issues with, like what's the real issue? What problem can I solve for this person? The only way you're going to figure that out is if you can ask deep questions. You got to be willing to ask those hard questions. The third one is just demonstration or your presentation, meaning, hey, now I know what your problems are. My demonstration is set up so that I can give you the solution to the problems. That's the only thing a demonstration. Nobody ever taught me this before, by the way. I never knew this in 40 years. Like I would show up and I'd have the same presentation. And I'll be honest, I learned that from Grant Cardone, because I'm also a Grant Cardone licensee and I deliver his curriculum. So my presentation set up to solve the problems that come up in fact finding. Then the closing is fundamental. If you do 2 and 3 right, 1, 2, 3 right, your closing should be organic. It should feel like a soft sell. It should just be like, wow, yeah, it absolutely makes sense to work with you. Like, why would I want to work with anybody else if all those other pieces are right? Right. I learned that from, believe it or not, Gary Keller told me that the closing should be, in my book, he said that the closing should be, the only logical answer should be like, yes. And if it's not, then you did something wrong. And then the 5th step is follow up, because no matter how good we are, we just can't win them all, and we have to have really good follow-up processes. So I just went through the 5 fundamentals, and that's what I got today. So if you want
I
to
love it.
just ask questions, probably is the best.
Yeah.
and
So
we'll go
can
from
we
there.
talk about, I love that. So let's talk about, if people want to hone the skill a little bit more of reaching out to people that they don't know for sale by owners expireds. We're going to see more of those probably on the market than we have in the last couple of years, since you're so skilled at that. When we look at those 5 fundamentals, do you train using those 5 fundamentals in those calls that you're making to the for sale by owner or to the expired? And if so, like maybe help us understand how you would do that. Like, what are some of the great questions to ask? What is a great greeting? Like, so that they hear you and they don't hang up on you right away.
Yeah, so great question. So, I mean, obviously it's going to start with your greeting. So you remember, these people are getting bombarded by calls most times, and everybody's sounding the same. And some realtors, they try to be, clever with, they're like, David, and the person's like, yeah, and they're like, hey, and it's just, but the little things like, and excuse me, I'm just getting over cold, so I'm a little congested if you hear it in my voice. So I am a direct and to the point type. So my greeting is going to it's going to be super boring to a lot of you guys, right? Hi, my name is, the reason for my call is, and to make sure I'm not wasting your time. Okay, so for a for sale by owner, hi, my name is David Hill, calling you from eXp Realty. The reason for my call is you have a house for sale by owner in my coverage area, and to be sure I'm not wasting your time, right? Now, like I'm telling them, I don't want to waste your time at all. Like, you're in control of this conversation. Is the home already sold? And if they say, no, it's not, okay, great. Now I can go into my pitch or my fact finding. So I've caught their attention. They've agreed to continue to talk to me, right? So I could say, well, at that point, I could say, got it. So I'm just curious, are you selling the house yourself because you're trying to save the commission, or is there any other reason that you're trying to sell it? And 9 out of 10 are going to say, yeah, no, we want to sell it ourselves because we think we're going to make more money, or we're going to save the commission, or whatever variation of that. And then now I'm in a conversation with somebody. But I think one of the mistakes you'll see a lot of people make is they call with, just stuff, 20-year-old scripts. When are you going to hire the right agent? Or just, weird things they say, or, just kind of manipulation in a lot of way tactics. And I think when we can just be authentic, be direct, and tell people why we're calling, because we're interrupting them. Just be honest, be direct. Here's the reason for my call. People appreciate that, people appreciate that. And I'll be honest, I learned that from Grant as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I learned a lot of stuff from Grant Cardone in the last couple of years when I became a licensee when it comes to sales. And I was good with some of the other stuff too, to be honest with you. But my intro's always been similar. My name's David Hill. I'm calling from this company, and I see you at a house for sale by owner in my coverage area. And, are you open to using a realtor? Again, it's just super direct to the point. There's no ambiguity there. It's just like, this is why this guy's calling me. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, I like that because I think it's interesting. We're trying to pretend like we're not calling for the real reason we're calling, and we think they don't know, and they know anyway. They know why we're calling. It doesn't make any sense to do anything. By the way, for recruiting, it's the same thing. Just call them and say, this is who I am, and I'm calling because I know a lot of people are thinking about a change right now, and I was just curious if you were one of them. Like, you're a salesperson.
Amen.
You don't want to be sold. So just tell people why you're calling and then just see what they say. If they say, nope, not interested, sounds good, I'm going to go find somebody who is, because it's just a numbers game. So to some degree, David, getting really direct. I love what you did. And you guys have been chatting in the chat box. I've been listening to David and trying to chat so you guys can grab this, but great. So are you selling your home to yourself just to save some of the money or commissions, or is there another reason why you're selling it on your own? That is a really just simple but direct and easy question. Somebody's probably going to tell you why. And now you're in a conversation. What you said, David, is now I'm actually in a conversation with somebody. Isn't the whole point of making a phone call to get in a conversation with somebody? Yes, that's the whole point. So then what do you do? So do you continue to try to filter in more questions to dig deeper into this at this point, David, or?
Yeah, so I want to fact find, right? I want to find out, okay, so now you're telling me about the, you're selling to save commission. Great. So I'm going to ask some more questions about, well, what if there was a way I could actually show you how I can do that for you, and you get the same amount, or maybe even in some cases more. Is that something you'd be open to? And most of them are like, remember we called this $800,000 seller, and it was actually $1 million house. And I was on a live call in Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Like I was making live calls in Clubhouse, and the guy answered. He was wicked standoffish. And I just went right to that question. He's like, yeah, I don't want a realtor. I'm all set. I've had a lot of realtors call me. And I said, I get it. I said, that's what realtors do. They call. But let me ask you this. If I could show you, I get it if you don't believe me, but if you believe there was a way I could get you what you wanted after my commission, would you use me? And he said, yeah, I guess so. Great. When can I meet with you? And it led right to the appointment, into $1 million listing, just from asking a simple question like that at the beginning of the call.
Mm-hmm.
They don't all go like that, right? So, just fact find, figure out why they're selling, what's important to them about the move. What's their time frame for the move? What's most important? Another question I really like to throw out there is, I get you doing it yourself. If you did hire a realtor, what would you be looking for in a realtor that you hired? And they'll tell you sometimes, well, I'd want marketing and then another, really strong question, because I mentioned number 5. In my 5, does anybody remember the top 5? I said there's 5 fundamentals. Everybody remember number 5?
Follow-up. Yeah,
follow-up. So if I know I'm not going to get anywhere on this first call, which, probably happens 70% of the time or 80% of the time, because really the first call is just to make a connection. They know who I am now, right? Best known always beats best. Okay, so they know me. I've made at least an impression. Then I always say, great, well, what's your plan B if this doesn't pan out? And no, I don't know. I didn't really think of that, or whatever. I don't know. I have a friend that's a realtor. Whatever they say, okay, perfect. I would just like to be part of your plan B then. I want to be another option for you in plan B if it doesn't work. So how, what's the best email address? And I've had people say, okay, you know what? Come take a look at the house. And before you know it, all of a sudden, I'm the plan B that just turned into the plan A, because after they met with me and saw what I do and saw how strong my presentation was, they were just like, wow, I want to hire you. And that was it. It was that simple.
Yeah.
So that's it. Just be a plan B. I'm okay with that. See, I think, Cari, I think one of the biggest mistakes we make is when everybody's so worried about the outcome of the call,
Yes.
right? Just forget about the outcome of the call. You're calling another human being. Have a conversation with them, figure out what's happening, and that's it, right? And if you can do that, you can be successful. It doesn't matter the outcome. If they tell me to go pound sand and dig a ditch, I'm gonna be like, oh man, sorry you feel that way. I'll try you back in a week. Maybe you'll feel better, right? I mean, it doesn't matter, right?
I love it. I
Yeah.
love that you said,
Yeah.
David, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'll call you back when you
Yeah,
feel
I
better.
don't know.
Because in reality,
maybe I caught you
you're
at a bad time, right? Sorry, I might have caught you at a bad time.
Yep.
You know?
I love that. So, okay, so here's a couple of things I love about what's your plan B, because nobody's thinking about that. They just threw their house up on the market and assuming it's going to work out and they're going to sell it, and they haven't thought about that. So I use that in recruiting a lot. I think, David, you and I've talked about this over the years as we've, grown together. It's like people are like, no, I love my broker. I love this. I love where I'm at. That's awesome. If anything were to happen, something could happen in your brokerage. It could just shut down and you might be surprised. The person you love at the brokerage could get fired. Something could happen to where you have to make a decision. Do you know where you're going to go? Do you have your plan B? Because if you don't, you're going to be struggling and you're going to go make a decision of a bad brokerage and you're going to, it's going to affect your business. Instead, let's just meet so you know me. So just in case, then you would know if I'd be a good plan B, because that's what I'd love to be. And a lot of times it takes the pressure of people. They don't feel sold in that moment. They're like, okay, well, she's not expecting me to come over now. So, but I like her and maybe she has a good point. I don't have a plan B. And that's the same with for sale by owners or expireds. Like well, obviously expireds didn't have a plan B. Their plan B was to take it off the market. So I love this. Yeah. Do you ever use I'd love to go into this. Do you ever use
you brought me back to the whole I love my broker thing. That used to just irk me. Like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, it's funny. You brought me back to that. I was like,
I know, I hear that a lot.
You love your broker.
Well, I'm glad you love your broker, but maybe you could love me too.
Loving your broker, is there any other reason you're not making money right now and your business is falling apart? I mean, you don't say that, but I mean, I'm just
that's what you're thinking.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
So David, when you're talking to a for sale by owner, for an example, do you go down the path of, well, so that's great. So when you sell your home, where are you moving to? Do you go down that path and really plug into their motivation to move somewhere else to help them have an urgency of selling?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you absolutely have to. And yeah, I mean, you're going to ask, where they're moving, time frame, what's most important about the move, what's their plan B? Again, there's the plan B for agent, and there's also plan B for if the house doesn't sell, right? So yeah, we're going to go deeper on that. How's that going to make you feel? We've got this little exercise I run my agents through where they have to practice going 7 deep. Because I know, on most people are not going to go 7 deep, but most people go 1 deep or maybe 2. But if you practice going 7 deep, then what ends up happening is when you're on a call, maybe you'll go 3 deep, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe even 4, who knows? But yeah, so we do that. And usually the real things come out when you start asking deeper questions like that.
So what would an example of that? Tell me a little bit more about that. This could be helpful.
All right. Excuse me. Let me just give me 1 second. All right.
Yep.
I am like
Okay. So what are you hearing so far? Any ahas before David comes back on? Because it's a good pause point.
Well, the first thing is, and it's just a reminder again, right? Like, you're not tied to the outcome, which means that, and I mean, David and I are both cold callers, so I totally get it. It's not about what happens on the actual conversation when you're doing that conversation. The idea is you're just, let's say for the day that you want to set one appointment. Well, you're not tied to the outcome of that one call, because in your mind, you're going to make enough calls that you're going to get one appointment. So you're not tied to the outcome of each individual conversation, right? You just know you're going to keep going until you get it. So what happens though, is when you go until you get it, you get opportunity. You get an opportunity for follow-up. You get an opportunity for a referral. You get all of these other things that bubble up out of that, where if you were just focused on the outcome, you would have never bubbled up all these other opportunities, right? So that's what I'm reminded of, because I mean, certainly I haven't cold called in a while for real estate business. I have recruiting, and it's just a reminder of is that not getting tied to the outcome actually allows you to bubble up more opportunity than you ever would have if you got, really honed in on that one conversation. It's about all of the conversations and how they they actually run together, and the outcome of all of those conversations at the end are worth more than the one. That's why you want to make as many as possible, right?
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
It's the
Yeah, it's
compounding
like
effect. That's the word I was
about
thinking
that.
of. I've got
Yeah.
allergies, so I've got allergy head, like big time. So.
Yes, compounding effect, momentum. Yeah, you can't do it with one call. It doesn't work. Even 2 or 3. Yeah. Okay, cool. So David, tell us a little bit. I'm curious, like when you have your agents do this 7 deep, like how would we practice that as individuals? What would you encourage us to
Yeah,
do?
so I'll practice with you. So,
Okay.
so Cari, listen, I appreciate the opportunity to come by and take a look at the house. I'm just curious, what's causing you to want to sell?
Well, we just would like to downsize. This house is just too much work for us now, and we don't even use a quarter of it. So we're just hoping to get into something newer and smaller.
Got it. Okay, so downsize, too much work. I'm writing this down, Cari, okay?
Okay.
So I don't forget. Okay, so, and you said it's too much house right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so what's important about that?
Well, it just, we're getting older, David. So it's just too much work, and it takes us away from hanging out with our kids and our grandkids. It's like we feel like we're just a slave to the house that we don't even use. And, we'd like to have something newer that's not as much work. So we're hoping to just, get as much money out of this house so we could go downsize, but we know we'll have to pay a fair amount if we want something newer. So then that will just give us less space, but newer. So we just have less work, and we can just enjoy the house, but not have it drag us down so we can go live our life as we're, into this close to retirement phase.
Got it. Okay, cool. So thank you again. I was taking notes. So you mentioned, getting a little older, just too much work. You mentioned slave to the house. Sounds like less work is really what you're looking for, right? Tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, there's always something that's breaking down. It's, we're just in all of our free time, we feel like we have to do something around the house, and we just don't really enjoy it anymore. And since we're not even using it like we used to with our family here, it made sense then. It just doesn't really make sense now. We just don't enjoy it, and we don't want to spend all of our time doing that. So I think it's probably just a quality of life thing at this point.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So let me ask you this: what will this ultimately do for you when the house is sold?
Well, ideally, we would be able to be someplace where we don't have to do as much of the work. We don't have to fix things up all the time. So we can start spending time traveling a little bit more, babysitting the grandkids, like just doing the things that we enjoy right now. We just don't feel like we have enough time, or if we do, we're just rushed because we've got all this other stuff to do all the time. So hopefully it gets us closer to what we want to spend our time doing.
Okay, absolutely. And when it's done and complete, how will it make you feel?
It'll be amazing, David, if we can get that to happen.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, let me ask you this: 1 being I don't even care, 10 being it's the most important thing in the world. Where would you rank it right now?
Probably an 8. It's pretty important to us.
An 8. Okay, an 8 sounds important. So what ultimately would make that a 10?
Well, in a couple of years, it's probably going to be a 10. Our patience is going to run thin, and it's going to get to a 10. We're not to the point where we have to sell this because we're miserable, but we really are getting close to the point where we just don't really enjoy it here anymore.
Got it. So what would make it a 10 right now?
Well, if I found a house that I really liked that we could afford, that's newer and smaller, and we just love it, like that would probably push us to a 10, because we would love to, we'd see something we could move into. We haven't really seen that yet, or haven't really looked for that yet. So I guess we don't really know what's out there. And so that might push us to a 10 if we saw something.
Got it. So, okay. So it sounds like that's also really critical, is finding the right property. It's not just everything else, but finding the right property.
Yeah.
So let's say we brought somebody in, they were going to give you what you wanted, but you didn't have that other property found out. What would be your plan B?
I don't know. I guess I haven't really thought of that. I mean, if it was a great offer and we knew we're getting the top dollar, I'm sure we'd figure something out,
Yeah.
but we haven't
Okay,
really
so
thought of
I'll stop there. I'll stop there. That's 10 questions deep.
that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so did you notice how stuff came out that a lot of agents wouldn't have got that stuff out, right? An 8 is not a 10. Right, well, you guys tell me. I mean, that listen, and most people won't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's uncomfortable for most agents. They think it's intrusive, but really it's not. If they're already putting themselves out there saying that we're trying to make a move for a reason. So you're just actually showing that you care and you want to understand their goals versus just sell a house. That's the difference, right? I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I've had people thank me for going that deep because they're like, wow, now I have more clarity on what I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
Seriously, and then some people will be like, oh my God, what's with all these questions? And be like, well, now you know what you're dealing with, right? Now you got somebody that's probably not really committed to the process.
Right. I love
So
that.
that's why we call it pre-qualification, fact finding.
Dana, do you have a question?
Yeah, I guess. Hi, David. I follow you on Clubhouse. Good to see you on live here.
Hey,
I
who does that speak? Oh, Dana, I see it. Oh, I don't see your
Yes.
picture, but I see your name. So cool.
Yes.
my camera.
Nice to meet your name.
There she is. She's coming on, I think.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
There you
recording.
go. All right. So, hey, now I can see you. There you
Yeah.
go. Good to see you.
So I think, does this line of questioning speak to solving someone's problem? Like,
Yeah.
It does.
yeah.
Well, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it sounds like the deep dive is the conversation you want to have when people feel like you can solve a problem. So they kind of walk away from the conversation like, wow, they feel helped
Mm,
and seen and heard.
mm.
Yeah, and that's part of it. I mean, obviously, we get to the demo too, which is another component to solving problems because we have different. Like when I asked at the end, what's your plan B, and she's like, I don't really know. Well, we have rental. There's different options, right? We could help them with a lease. We could do short-term rental. So we want to show up and have all those bases covered so that we're not going to be surprised down the road. Imagine you just went 6 deep and we list the house, we get an offer, it's a beautiful offer, and then the person's like, well, I don't really know. And like, what do you mean you don't know? Like, well, I don't really know if I want to go forward. And because they don't have the right house found. And
Right.
a lot of agents won't even find that out up front because they don't ask enough questions to figure it out.
Mhm.
No, that was
Yeah.
that was awesome. And it was seamless. It seemed very natural. Yeah, it seemed like you would be a person that someone would want to engage and have a conversation with. It did not feel sales pitchy at all.
I agree.
A lot of practice. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of practice.
And that's the key. You have to make these calls and not be afraid of the outcome and just do it. And you'll get so much better at it. At first, you're not going to sound as smooth. And that's okay. Because, that's how we get better at something is by doing it. But we can't get ready because then we never do it. And then it never, we can't get better that way. So I think that we just try the best that we can. And I think, and I don't know if you believe this, David, but even the people who don't do it well, if they do it enough, they still get opportunity because it's more about doing it than doing it perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just make enough calls and eventually someone's going to answer the phone. Like, yeah, I was actually looking to call a realtor and you called me on time.
Yeah, it just happens to be the right time because you did enough of them. Yeah. So talk to me about, okay, you and I went through this whole conversation and you went 10 deep with me. And now, I'm sick of taking care of my house. I'm getting older. I want to spend time with my grandkids. I want to travel. I have motivation. I want to get to something new. So at that point, how would you construct that presentation or demonstration around how you could help me solve that problem? Like, what would that look like? Do you mind sharing a few scripts on that?
No, not at all. I mean, I would obviously show up and I would talk about, well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to first let them know the intention of the meeting today. So my intention, so Cari, just to let you know, we charge X%. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you and provide all the information so that you're able to justify. You'll see enough value for that. Is that okay, Cari?
Okay.
So now, right up front, I'm telling them how much I charge. So they're not sitting there saying, oh my gosh, I wonder what this guy charges. As I'm going through everything and they're thinking about the other agent, I won't say any company names that said they know right up ahead. And then I'm gonna use the takeaway, which is, so here's 3 things are gonna happen today. Either A, you're gonna hire me and that'll be great, or B, I may, you may choose not to hire me and it might not be so great, or 3, I may choose not to take your listing. Is that fair? And they're like, yeah, that's fair. Great. Now we're on the same page. We're on the same level. And then, quick tour of the house, and then we sit down and we go into their fact finding, the things I wrote down. So,
Okay.
I mean, and I can say, listen, I can tell you about, the virtual tours we can do. I can
Yep.
tell you about the Matterport. We do professional photography. I can tell you all that stuff you've already heard from all the other agents, but let's talk about what's important to you now. You mentioned you need to be in Florida. You mentioned you don't want to be paying these costs anymore. You mentioned this house is a drag on you and you want to be close to your grandkids and you need to find the right property, right? So now that's what they want to talk about.
Yeah. So now
Right?
we can say,
You're
look, this
coming
is
up
how
with
I can help
solutions.
you. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So in that case, you would actually maybe say, okay, let's start setting you up on a search. Let's start finding you the property in the meantime, because you got to know where you're going to go. And let's also talk about a plan B. If we can sell your house faster than you can find one, what would that look like? Let me help you, or let me strategize with you. Like you could, do a longer close that allows you more time to find the house. These are the ways that I've helped other people make a double move. These are the solutions. So now you're just basically talking about what they want to, and that's that stuff. They've heard it from all the other realtors. We do everything that every other realtor does, right? So here's the list of those things, but let's talk about what you want to talk about. Okay, so now let's say you went through all of that. What's like your closing? What is the natural closing, and how do you now take full circle when you said, here's the intention for the meeting. 1 of 3 things is going to happen. Are you okay with that? Yep. Sounds good. Perfect. Now you've gone through your demonstration. And now what's like the natural close from there usually, or what does that sometimes sound like?
Yeah. So forever, I just used a really easy one was, are you ready to put me to work?
Yeah.
I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
And I just forever, that was my line. I also have one that I got from Cardone, which is, have you heard enough information to make a decision? Or, if you're dealing with somebody that's a visual, you would just say, have you seen enough information to make a decision, right? Or if you're dealing with somebody that's a kinesthetic, you would say, how do you feel about making a decision, right? Are you ready? And that's it. I mean, it's not complicated. So it's more like a trial close. And then when they say, yes, I have, okay, great. Then you pull out your agreement and you have them sign. And I do everything on an iPad anyway, since I switched to EXP. I don't carry paperwork anymore. I do everything on my iPad. 0 paperwork. And I just, everything's there. So I have them sign right on my iPad. I even goof around with how amazing this pencil is, this Apple Pencil, and they have to feel it and how nice it writes. And I make it fun.
Yeah.
And we have, I'm probably 80%, people sign if I meet with them, right?
Yep.
I mean, I usually don't meet with people unless I truly believe they're going to hire me. Not all of them do, unfortunately, but if I'm going to meet with you, it means I have a feeling that I believe you're gonna hire me.
Yeah. And so let's just say at the end, when you say, are you ready, to put me to work, or we do one of these closes that seem natural. Do you, what do you do then? What do you say? And then what does that follow-up look like in general? Or what would some ideas be?
So ask me the question again.
So let's say that you ask the close and you think that they're going to go for it, but they're just like, yeah, I've heard a lot of information, but I'm just not ready to make a decision yet. They're just not there. You can't get them to say yes. So what do you do then?
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So I would just say, well, I so appreciate that. So let me ask you this. How much time do you need to make the decision? Do you need 2 days, 2 hours, 2 weeks? Like how much? How much time do you think you need to carry?
Okay. Probably just a couple days.
Okay, perfect. Couple days. So, and that's no problem. I will definitely get back to you in a couple days, but since I'm here right now, can I tell you the 3 things that you're gonna have to work through in the next couple days to make your decision?
Yeah.
All right, so the first one's you're gonna be thinking, hey, is what this guy presenting to me actually going to work? Like, is it gonna get my house sold? So, Cari, do you believe everything I've just presented to you is going to work and get your home sold?
I mean, yeah, it seems like it. You were pretty thorough.
Okay, but you're confident in that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So then the other thing you're gonna be thinking about is, does the, the commission or what you walk away with work? So the number I gave you, 649 to 675 range, is that the range you're comfortable with?
I mean, I think we're comfortable. That's one thing I'd want to think about because we just have to make sure we have enough money, to move to the new place.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it. Good. So I'm writing this down. So you want to make sure you have enough money to move. All right, good. And what would be the ideal number for you?
I mean, I think that well, it depends on what we're going to find to move into, but what we were thinking we would need would be at least kind of on the top end of what you've shared with us, which is why I'm just a little hesitant because I just want to make sure that if we got on the lower end of that, it would still work.
Okay, I love that. That's perfect. So, okay, so if you were at the 770, 775, this would definitely work.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
so.
all right, perfect. So then the third thing, Cari, is gonna be, do you feel comfortable with me doing this for you, like me personally?
Oh yeah, I like you. I think you seem like a great guy.
All right, I'm gonna work very hard for you too, just like I'm doing right now. So the only thing we have in the way then is the price right now, right? Getting you that number.
Mhm.
So here's what I'm gonna tell you, is we have what's called the hassle-free program, Cari. So we
Okay.
get it out there, we market it the right way, and if we don't get you the number that you're happy with, that you're 100% satisfied with, in 28 days or less, you do not have to move forward. You can terminate the agreement, and then you can do something down the road. Does that make you feel more comfortable about going forward right now?
Yeah, that would help because then I wouldn't feel like I was locked into selling my house for less than I could, do it for.
Absolutely. So awesome. So let's get this started. Waiting a couple of days isn't going to give you any more certainty. So let's get this signed now and get you home on the market.
Awesome. All right. What do you guys think about that? That was great. So I loved this. Can I tell you the 3 things that you're going to have to work through in the next couple of days as you make your decision? I've not heard that before. I think that's brilliant. Anybody else have any comments on that? I loved it.
Yeah, just practice. And here's the other thing. Here's something else you have to keep in mind. There's a saying I know I keep going to Grant because I've spent the last year and a half, studying with him, and is no one thing kills a deal. You have to keep that mindset, that philosophy of no, and I think some of us walk away like, oh gosh, I'm going to be pushy if I ask, or, they tell you they need time to wait, think, like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to seem pushy, so I'll wait, right? And I'll call back in a couple of days. The Remax guy behind you shows up and, he's aggressive and they sign with him, right? Because he asks more questions. So just remember, no one thing kills a deal. Nobody's going to say, oh my God, Cari, that's it. You asked one question too many. I'm not working with you. No, if anything, they're going to be like, wow, man, you are persistent. I've had people sitting at the table, Cari, signing and be like, I cannot believe I'm signing this right now. Signing the paperwork. I swear to you. And because they're like, man, you are persistent. Like, I want this kind of person working for me.
Yeah.
But you have to be confident. We have to be confident as well in that, not just, and it's not cocky, it's just confident. Like, you've done it enough. You know what you're doing. You know what you're talking about. And that's why I said earlier, if you take steps 1, 2, and 3, step 4 should be natural.
Yeah. That's what I like about that. We're all afraid of the close. Like, we're all like, how do we close? What do we say? And really, if you do the rest correctly, the close should just happen. Isn't that a different mindset than much of us, I think, have in sales? Because we're focused on how do we get them to make a decision and how do we close them. At the end of the day, if we're trying real hard to close them at the end, it's probably because we didn't do a good job in the first 3 steps. And if we can hone those skills, And that's the relationship building. That's what Dana said. It didn't feel salesy. It's just asking questions. It's like, actually, you care. You want to know about what my situation is. Isn't that more fun to have those kinds of conversations and feel like we're trying to go in here and close everybody? I think that's so much more natural. And we might enjoy it and be more willing to do it more often if we can think about it differently like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It
think
should
that's
be. And if it's grindy, if it's rubby at all, it's not they don't feel comfortable. Then some people will sign it. And trust me, in the past, I experienced this when I first got my license, because before, I really honed my skills, I would persuade people and convince them,
Yeah.
and they'd sign to get me out of their house, and then they'd cancel after, be like, I changed my mind or something, because
Yeah.
they're really not bought into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I've done that too. And it's like, that's where they have that remorse and then they panic. And then you're like,
Yeah.
okay, they didn't make the decision. I made the decision for them and they went along with it. We got to figure out a way to have them make the decision. And the best way to do that is to ask the questions, because when David was asking me all those questions and I had to verbalize over and over again, the pain I was going through dealing with this house and the stress and the time and what I wasn't able to do, that was making me make the decision. I was feeling it. And that's what the power of questions do. So David wasn't telling me I had these problems. I was telling him I had these problems, and it was solidifying in my mind I needed to move. And so then I own it, and then I want to do it, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference. Hey, Kevin, you have yourself unmuted. Did you have a question? Just want to make sure we're not missing you.
No, sorry. I was driving and I was trying to make sure I was still on mute. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I just didn't want to leave you hanging if you had a question.
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments, questions, thoughts, ideas? They want to set an intention for moving forward in their calls. Anybody going to be making some for sale by owner calls anytime soon, just out of curiosity? Okay, we've got somebody that all right, sweet. Was this helpful to you then? Did you get some good scripts? Okay, cool. Dana, you're going to make some? Okay, awesome.
And this works. It doesn't matter who you're calling. You can call
Yes.
your cousin, John, right? You can call FSBO Expired, Circle Prospecting, Sphere of Influence, people that are behind on their mortgage payments, right? Absentee owners, Z buyer. It makes no difference. This is the same 5 fundamentals.
True. You're
Only
right.
thing that changes are maybe the script, the conversation a little bit.
Yeah.
you know?
Lisa, do you have a question? That's right, David. Good point.
Yeah, Luke's actually got a meeting with a FSBO client before Thanksgiving. So we've gone through a lot of that script, and he really has got a talent for doing it, but this will be the first time he's going to actually meet in person with this client. She was originally a buyer lead for us, and then through his, finding out, we realized she was a FSBO as well. So he's actually got 2 options on the go here. But when he goes to the meeting, is there anything specifically that you would, a good greeting for face-to-face?
Yeah, I mean, just try to make it fun. So with for sale by owners, I'm not sure how deep you went on the fact finding, but why are they selling?
Yeah.
Well, and I think she's downsizing. She feels she's super religious and feels that it is she needs to be debt free. So what she's working with is let's sell the house and let's find something for what we can pay for with cash.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, so why is she selling?
Because
debt free.
she's been told through prayer that she needs to be debt free. So we're kind of working with that situation as well. Which can be, well, in Branson it's pretty normal, but it's one of those things.
So what I would try to do is figure out, what does debt free mean to them, and like what does that ultimately mean? Like I always put my coaching hat on regardless, and so I need to really understand, what does that mean, what does that look like? Use those types of questions, and then make the meeting fun. I mean, like with FSBOs, just show up. I'm trying to think, like I went, one of my last appointments, I don't even go on as many appointments anymore. I mostly call real estate agents now. But one of my last appointments was a for sale by owner, and I swear to God, the first thing he said to me when we walked in the house, he said, "Hey, I just want to let you know I'm not signing any paperwork today." And the first thing, even before I could say hi, and one of my team members was me, and I says, "Hey," I said, "that's great, man, because only 3 things can happen today." I said, "You'll either sign with me, and you already said you're not going to do that, or B, you may not sign with me, and that won't be so great, or C, I may not take your listing." And like, he
Yeah.
looked at me like I was nuts.
He's like, now you're
I said,
telling
"Is
me
that
that you
fair?"
might not.
I said, "Is that fair?" And he's
What's
like,
funny is
"Yeah,
she's made
yeah,
it
that's
super
fair."
clear to me. I've done this so many times. I don't need realtors. I hate realtors over
sure.
and over. And she
Got
just
it.
keeps talking
Me
to
too.
me though. So I'm just like, I
hate
finally
realtors
got to
too,
where I'm
man.
like,
They're crazy.
yeah, I finally
Yeah.
just got to where I'm like, okay, maybe if I threaten to sell her house, she'll stop talking to me. And she said, yeah, I'll pray about it. Okay, here we
So,
go.
hey, you know what? Pray with her.
That's what I said to him.
Yes.
I said, you're just gonna have to
Pray
hold
with
out
her.
and
So
do
here,
it.
listen to this. I had a lady, and I had a lady at the end of the meeting say, "You know what? Everything you said was fantastic. Wow, it was so great. I went through the whole process, and at the end, she's like, no, it's none of those things. It's I just need to pray about it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, you should have told." I said, "Who do you think sent me over here?" And that was it. They started laughing, and they signed the paperwork on the
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the
That
only-
might be good. You'd be good at
The only
that.
reason I even said that is because I forget who told me that, but I heard someone say that once.
Who do you
And you
think
remembered
sent
it.
her?
Well, I
But
mean,
yeah,
here's the
but
deal.
to Lisa,
Yeah.
what's your husband's name, or the gentleman with you?
This is not my husband. This is my team partner.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I don't know.
This
My
is Luke.
apologies. Okay.
Work
Sorry about
husband.
that.
My work
Um,
cousin, one of my many
Work
work
husband.
cousins.
Got it. So listen, just go deep on the fact finding, man. That's what you're
Yeah.
missing. And
Yeah.
then she's not going to be closed off to you. If you can figure out how to go deep with like those questions, if you want, message
Yeah.
me. I'll give you the questions.
Yeah.
And just go deep on before you meet. Don't do it at the meeting. Do it before you meet. Say,
Yeah.
hey, before I come over, I've got a few questions. You have like 6 minutes, and go through the questions with her.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank
I
you.
love that. I love it. All right. Any last things? Did anybody have their hand raised, or anybody else unmuted that wants to comment?
Hey, Cari, I was wondering, do you guys have a recording of this class?
Hi there. Yes. So it is live streamed in EXP Family Tree. If you're not in EXP, you're going to be able to find this within about 24 hours maximum on Cari Briner on YouTube. So just search my name on YouTube, and we have a whole playlist of all of the recordings of all of our past trainings, as well as this one.
Perfect, thank you.
And you can connect with David Hill on Workplace. Where else can people connect with you, David?
Yeah, I mean, davidhill.link is the easiest way to connect with me. Everything's there. I also want to let you guys know I'm a success coach, and I'm running a partnership with them. We're doing a 2-day workshop for sales. It's Grant Cardone's Sales Execution Workshop. And I can, if you want, I can drop the link.
Yes.
And there's a code. I can give you a code. And this is the work, like everything we just talked about, those 5 fundamentals, we're going to spend 2 days on that, and everybody's going to leave with their own complete layout from the greeting to fact-finding questions, your demo, everything, your closing
Awesome.
question, in 2 booklets of over 60 emails and text templates for follow-up. So there's a $500 off coupon if anybody's interested. Let me know. I'll just drop the link here, Cari, and
Yep,
you can
put it
share
in the
with your
chat.
people. Hold on,
Yep.
let me see if I can find it. And yeah, and then obviously Workplace. I'm on Workplace. You know, if you want to connect with me.
And are
if
you
anybody
still
wants
doing
those
regular calls
questions-
on Clubhouse?
You know, we just started today, Cari. I moved it from Clubhouse, and we're going on Discord now with,
Okay.
yeah, so I know there's a lot happening with EXP now on Discord, so I
Yeah.
have a role play room on, and I can give you my Discord, hold on, let me see if I can find it for you. I don't even remember what it is. My user on Discord is, I think it's David, hold on a second. But I dropped that in the chat. Cari, do you
Yep.
have that?
Yep, I'm gonna put it in workplace as well.
All right, appreciate it. You know what I'll do is, I don't know, and I don't want to, maybe you guys sit around waiting while I'm trying to.
Can
figure
you,
this out.
you're in workplace, you're in our EXP family tree, right, David?
Oh, here it is. So you go to, on Discord, it's David Hill. I'm newer to Discord. Glenn Sanford does every morning, you know, on there. I've been on there. And that's how I kind of got into it. But David Hill 2730. We're going to be doing live role play calls at 9:30 Eastern, Monday through Friday.
All right, David Hill 2730,
Yep, that's my Discord.
Discord name. And then what
yeah.
did you say, Monday through Friday? What was the time?
9:30 Eastern, 30 minutes. So if people want to join us, we'll be popping in. It'll be either me or one of my agents or clients or somebody will
Okay.
be hosting it. I got a lot of really cool people that I hang out with that are really good at this stuff.
Awesome. I love it. The thing I love about this is every single time we have somebody come on, there's some other way you can connect with them if they resonate with you. And I think what's cool is that, you know, different people resonate with different people, and what you're looking for your business at the time is like what you need to be focusing on. And we all know what we need to be focusing on at the beginning of the year, moving forward, and where we want to hone our skills. So hopefully this brought you guys value. I knew David would come with some great things to share. You guys can reach out to him. I'll post this in EXP Family Tree. It is live streamed there. We will have the recording up on my YouTube within 24 hours as well. David, thank you so much for being here, and thanks everybody for joining.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Cari. Take care. Good to see you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Good luck, everybody. Good luck with your meeting.
Thanks, guys.
All right.